What is up, guys? Welcome to this course on data science and machine learning job search. In this course, we're going to study some of the non-technical aspects that you need to know when you're applying for, data science, machine learning, in general, any data-related job. So let's begin with this thing. Now, one of the common pain points and one of the common mistakes that I've seen people, especially those who are new into this area, one of the common mistakes and one of the common pain points that I've seen in them is that they spend a lot of time in acquiring skills, which is basically learning Python, SQL, maybe doing some cloud computing or learning data science or data engineering or anything. They may spend a lot of time in building end-to-end projects, and which is fine. It's not a problem. But the problem here, but the thing that they don't do, is they don't put much efforts into the presentation, which is basically how they present themselves in front of potential, let's say hiring managers or recruiters in general. So they would, let's say, spend a lot of time in learning those, other things, which are technical things, but they would, let's say, not, put much efforts into building their LinkedIn, building their GitHub portfolio, for example, writing or tailoring every single, let's say if they're applying for jobs, then tailoring their resume for every single job that they apply, and writing, let's say, cover letters. And because of that, what they would end up is basically, even though they might have skills, but they would end up in a situation in which, let's say, they would not get any interviews. And this is the kind of mistake even I also did, and even I felt the same thing, which was basically, since I was not getting any interviews, I felt that my skills were not enough. And then I was going back, spending more time into acquiring those skills, and basically I was not applying for jobs. And even if I was applying, I was probably, let's say, applying, let's say, even if I applied into 100 jobs, I was not getting, let's say, any interviews. Reason was basically, my resume, my portfolio was not appealing enough for the, let's say, recruiting managers and in general, hiring managers. So there were a few changes I did in how I was applying. And because of that, I got like ton of interviews. In fact, I have given by now, I have given like hundreds of interviews in like tens of companies, like around 30 or 40 different companies, I guess. And even this day, I get many messages from recruiters on LinkedIn. Basically, they are reaching out to me for some sort of job that they have in their company. Usually, this is from smaller companies, usually less than 100 employees. For bigger companies, I have to apply obviously on LinkedIn. But for smaller companies, they reach out to us because they have some sort of job opening and they don't find good people for it. So they reach out. So if you are somebody who is kind of stuck in the same situation in which, let's say you have skills, you have studied in, I don't know, some university or some college, you have, everything basically in terms of your technical knowledge, but let's say you're not getting any interviews. You want to obviously know why, but let's say you want to also find out what are some of the non-technical aspects. And basically, since you're not getting interviews, you have just got, demotivated, and it has got to a point in which, you might think of giving up. So in that case, this course is for you. In this case, in this course, we're going to learn those non-technical aspects that would focus on basically your presentation. And basically, we want to maximize your potential, to land more interviews. The way in which I look at this whole scenario is basically like a pyramid. When the interviewer, the only thing that the interviewer or the recruiter would get to judge about you is your resume, because that's the only thing that they would see for the first time, and then when they know about you, right? So they would see your interview, and let's say if you fail in that part, if they would see your resume, and let's say if you fail in that part, then in that case they are not going to proceed to the next step, right? So that's the first point. That has like very obviously very little information about the things that but that's the top part. Then goes the next part, which is going to be, let's say, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, and these are some publicly available information. This also includes, let's say, your GitHub or in general your portfolio. And then let's say if they want to inquire more about it, they would get an interview with you, and then they would explore your skills and other things, and then they would get to know you more, and basically they would send you an offer. But that's the first part is basically your presentation, which is, as I said, resume, LinkedIn, a cover letter, your portfolio, and how you present yourself, your personal brand, how people consider you as an expert in your area. So that's the first thing. So that's how I see this whole situation. So if you can fix that first part, which is basically, as I said, those non-technical things, then you can get to the next part, which is landing an interview. So if you fix that part, you would maximize your chances of landing interviews. Once you land interviews, then it's up to your technical skills. And believe me, it's very easy to acquire those technical skills. There are lots of free resources, lots of resources available on YouTube, which you can pay like $20 and learn a lot. And there are also like a lot of open source projects that you can do as well. So lots of open things, lots of free things, and you don't have to spend much time. Much cost. There is not much cost to it. Obviously, there is time. Usually, it takes people. If somebody is starting from zero, if somebody has no knowledge, absolute no knowledge of data science and machine learning, it would take them around 4 to 8 months, I would say, to learn everything and let's say get a job. So that's how that's how I think it should happen. Yeah. So yeah. The objectives of this course, obviously, it's to empower you to take control of your career and your job search. And basically, this is going to help you to obviously land more job opportunities. And basically, in that case, you will have more control as to, you can decide how much salary you want. You can have negotiations. You can have more job opportunities and other things, right? So, it's designed to help you secure a job that aligns with your values and your ambitions in your life, okay? There are some important stats to consider. Let's read. 75% of resumes are rejected before they can even reach the hiring manager. So usually they have some sort of some automated software that is going to basically find out things from your resume. And let's say if those software doesn't say much about the type of thing that the recruiter is looking for, then in that case the software itself is going to reject you. So first thing that we need to do obviously is to make your resume optimized enough for the softwares, and then it would come to the hiring manager, right? So the second thing here is that 77% of recruiters, they rely on LinkedIn. So right now LinkedIn is probably the only professional social media platform. So obviously LinkedIn is very powerful. 54% of employees have rejected candidates based on their social media profile. This happens a lot of time with me. Basically, I apply into any job, and what I get from the after like few days, somebody sees my profile, and a lot of this time I can see it who saw my profile. Usually it's somebody from that company in which I applied, and then the next after a few days, like after 3-4 days, I get a call, or at least they send an email they would like to do an interview, and I can set up a call with them. So a lot of this time this happens. So they would want to they would explore your social media, they would explore your LinkedIn, and if they like about things about you, then they're going to continue, otherwise you would be rejected. A professionally written resume, it's going to boost your earnings potential, by 7%. Only about 5 applicants out of hundreds earn a face-to-face interview. I've got all these stats from this place, so you guys can see whenever you want. But yeah, your profile presentation. So your whole profile would be reflected into your resume, your LinkedIn, your cover letter, your portfolio, right? So that's where your whole profile would be reflected. So your profile presentation obviously matters, and this is the reason why. First, obviously, if you prepare yourself for your job search with a strategy. So a strategy, let's say, would be in terms of building your portfolio, building your LinkedIn, connecting with people, with networking on LinkedIn. Obviously, having, let's say, if you're applying into multiple jobs, then in that case, tailoring your resume and your cover letter for those specific jobs. And ultimately, what you will end up in, basically, since most of the jobs would be similar, you would end up with like 4 or 5 different types of resumes that would be tailored for specific type of jobs. So let's say if there's a company that that focuses on Gen AI, then in that case your resume would be tailored to those kind of jobs, versus another company that focuses into, I don't know, data analyst type of jobs. Then in that case, your resume would be focused on those side of things. So yeah, but you would end up like with like 4 or 5 different types of resume that would go with particular type of jobs, which is fine. So yeah, but in general, like giving a time, having in developing this strategy, having a good preparation would save a lot of time, obviously, in the future, and it would potentially give you better opportunities and higher salaries and more control over your application, right? Messaging, the message that your profile gives to the potential recruiter. That's very important, right? So that messaging, resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, all of these are equally important. And as I've said before, networking can be a big game changer. Now for networking, although you guys can use LinkedIn, one of the really good tools I liked, and this thing attaches with LinkedIn as well. I believe they have a Chrome extension that you can use. So it's called Apollo.io. And basically you can do a lot in here. In this case, you can type any type of people whom you want, and in here you can type in any company you want, let's say Google and Amazon for example, and it's going to show you all the employees that have some sort of relation to the given keyword, who work at these places. So as you can see, this is the case, and you can connect with them on their LinkedIn and do a lot more, right? And then there are lots of other things that you can toggle with. Cool. So yeah, I use that for networking. But let's say if you have somebody in your family, friends, who's also working in these areas, then in that case those kind of networking in general is better, is because though in that case they would know you personally, and they would probably want to invest some of their time into helping you, while connecting somebody on LinkedIn might it might work, it's not, but they would not be as committed as somebody who knows you personally, obviously, right? But in general, networking can be a big game changer. You can build a lot of connections, and in general it can help you a lot. So in summary, obviously preparation is the key. Investing time up front into preparing resumes, cover letter, networking, all of these things are going to pay you off. And we are going to learn these things, obviously, right, in this as a part of this course. Second, obviously this is going to increase your chances of success. Obviously, when you have these things well prepared, then in that case the conversion rate of landing into interviews, it's going to get higher, and it's going to result in more job offers. And because of that, you will have more control. Basically, you could negotiate the job, let's say pay. You could have you could decide where you want to work, and you could do a lot more, right? Now here's the question: why should you listen to me? Like that's because why should I? Why? Because I've developed this course, but why should you take this course from me? So here's a little bit about me. I am professionally, obviously, a machine learning engineer. I've also worked as a data scientist and data science engineer. And yeah, I have around 5 years of experience in ever since I've been working in this area. This also includes my academic experience as well. And so far I've given like hundreds of interviews into I don't know, 30-40 different companies, and this includes Google and Meta as well. I've interviewed at both of these places. In this course, we're going to focus on some of these skills. So as you can see, this is what I found. These are the big 6 skills that would transform your profile. And this is something, if you can score like 100 out of 100 in all 6 of them, then there is no way that you're not going to get a job. Let's see what it is. So basically, first, obviously, your resume, and we're going to study that. And this is one of the most important thing, right? Then it's your LinkedIn profile. You need to get this thing better. Then it's your cover letter. So we're going to cover all these 3 things, and I'm going to teach you in this course how you can, maximize, how can you can optimize in general. To land more job opportunities, right? So how can you optimize your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and your cover letter, right? As for these other things, GitHub portfolio projects, obviously that's not part of this course, because this course is non-technical. But you guys are in general in this whole community, data skill, we're going to do a lot more, right? So we will be doing projects, we will be doing other things. And in general, because of that, you're going to build a lot of portfolio projects. We would probably also have end-to-end projects, so that would help you as well. And there are lots of resources already available, lots of projects out there as well that you can use to build your GitHub portfolio. As for the interviewing skills, I believe there are also, again, a lot more resources available online as well. But you would probably learn more things as you do more interviews. So once so the part of these 3 or 4 points is to help you land an interview, and once you land an interview, then you will learn these things, interviewing skills. Because a lot of this time, it's even though you could learn a lot of theory, but when you do things practical, that's when it starts making sense, right? And networking, I believe that's up to people, and they can do networking in the way they are comfortable. So there's no specific way to do it, right? You can always do it through LinkedIn with your family and friends, and in general you can do it any way you want. So we're going to cover these 3 things in this course. These GitHub portfolio and projects, obviously you can do it by yourself, and we would be doing this as part of some other courses maybe in this community. And these other 2 things, I believe you can learn by yourself as you do more interviews and as you meet your people. So In the next tutorial, next part, we are going to start with resumes, and we would be discussing things about resume and how you can optimize, the best, how you can optimize your resume for recruiters, for these softwares, and we're going to see this. So yeah, see you guys in the next tutorial. Thanks so much for watching.